They thought they were just boarding a flight, two sisters, excited for a weekend getaway. But the moment they stepped onto that private jet, everything changed. Whispers, stares, then a voice that froze them in place. "You don't belong here." What happened next wasn't a misunderstanding. It was humiliation wrapped in privilege. And when their father showed up, the truth shattered everyone in that room. Stay with me, and if you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit subscribe right now, because what you're about to see will make you question everything about justice, power, and race.
Ava and Nia had grown up believing hard work could open any door. Two sisters, bold, brilliant, and inseparable, raised by a father who built everything from nothing. Ava was the dreamer, studying fashion design. Nia, the quiet strategist, majoring in business. Together, they'd saved for months to celebrate Ava's scholarship with a surprise weekend trip, a small luxury, just this once. The day was bright, their laughter easy as they arrived at the private airfield. They weren't used to this world of tinted glass doors, polished marble floors, and people who didn't look twice at wealth. But when they walked in, the smiles around them froze. Conversations paused. A receptionist's polite grin flickered into confusion. Still, Ava brushed it off. "Maybe it's just in our heads," she whispered, forcing a smile as she handed over their reservation. Nia nodded, clutching her purse a little tighter. But something in the air felt off, a subtle tension, like they'd stepped into a place that had already decided they didn't belong. Across the lobby, a pilot glanced their way, then whispered something to a flight attendant. A few quiet chuckles followed. Ava's laughter faltered. The sisters exchanged a look neither wanted to name, a mix of pride and unease. They didn't know it yet, but the next few minutes would turn that unease into humiliation and expose a truth their father had spent years protecting.
Ava handed over their confirmation email with a bright smile, the kind you use to make others comfortable. The receptionist glanced at the screen, then back at them, her expression shifting from polite to uncertain. "I'm sorry, are you sure this is the right terminal?" she asked, voice soft but sharp enough to sting. "Yes," Nia replied. "Flight 218, chartered under Carter Holdings." The woman's brows lifted slightly. "Carter? As in your family?" Ava nodded, but the silence that followed said everything. The receptionist hesitated before forcing a brittle laugh. "One moment, please." She picked up the phone, whispering something that made a nearby pilot glance over. His eyes scanned the sisters, slow and deliberate, before he leaned toward another crew member. Both started laughing quietly. Minutes dragged. Whispers turned into stares. The air felt heavier by the second. Ava tried to joke it off. She always did. "Maybe they lost the paperwork," she murmured, but Nia wasn't laughing anymore. Her chest tightened as the receptionist finally returned with two security officers in tow. "I'm afraid this area is for members only," one said flatly. "You'll need to leave." Ava blinked. "Members only? We booked this flight days ago. Check your system." The officer crossed his arms. "Ma'am, I need you to step outside. Now." People in the lobby were watching openly now, some with pity, others with something colder, satisfaction. Nia's voice shook as she said, "We paid for this. My father confirmed it himself." The pilot smirked. "Sure he did." Ava's face flushed with heat. "What's that supposed to mean?" But before she could finish, one of the guards gently gripped her arm, steering her toward the exit. The gesture was polite, almost careful, but the message was clear. You don't belong here. Nia's mind raced. Should they call their dad? Should they film? Her hands trembled as she reached for her phone. "We're not leaving," she tried to sound firm, even as fear crept in. The receptionist's voice softened, but her words didn't. "Ma'am, please, you're making a scene." Ava pulled free from the guard's grip, eyes burning. "No, you made a scene the moment you decided we couldn't afford to be here." The room went silent. Even the laughter stopped. For a brief, heavy moment, all that could be heard was the hum of the air conditioner and the pounding of their hearts. And then, over the intercom, a voice crackled through. "Attention staff, Carter Holdings flight now boarding. Mr. Carter has arrived."
Heads turned. The same people who'd mocked them seconds ago straightened instantly. The guard's hand fell away. The pilot's smirk disappeared. Ava and Nia froze, because the name they'd been dismissed over was the name that suddenly commanded the entire room.
The heavy glass doors swung open, and every head turned. A tall man in a tailored suit strode in, calm but commanding, his eyes scanning the room like he already knew what had happened. Ava and Nia froze. Their father. "Is there a problem here?" His voice was even, but it carried weight. The kind that made people straighten their backs before they even realized why. The pilot stepped forward quickly, all confidence gone. "Oh, we were just sorting out a misunderstanding, sir." Mr. Carter's gaze didn't move. "A misunderstanding." His eyes flicked to the security officers still blocking his daughters from the gate, because from where I'm standing, it looks like my daughters were just thrown out of a flight I paid for. No one spoke. The receptionist's hands trembled as she tried to explain, We didn't realize they were—" "Didn't realize they were what?" Mr. Carter cut in, voice sharp as glass. Silence. The kind that crushes excuses before they can form. He reached into his coat pocket, pulling out a sleek ID card. The gold emblem caught the light. Chairman, Carter Holdings. The name that was printed across every hangar, every jet on the runway. Gasps rippled through the room. The same pilot who'd mocked the sisters earlier took a step back, his face draining of color. Ava felt her chest tighten, anger and pride mixing into something she couldn't even name. Nia looked at the faces around her, the same ones that had dismissed them moments ago, now wide with shame. Their father turned to his daughters. "You don't owe anyone here an explanation. You belong wherever you choose to be." Then looking back at the staff, he added quietly, "And the next time you decide who belongs, make sure it's not based on the color of their skin." No one moved. No one spoke. The silence said everything. Ava exhaled slowly, realizing this moment wasn't just about flying, it was about being seen. And as they walked toward the jet, every eye followed, not with laughter this time, but with something else. Regret. The jet lifted off quietly, the hum of the engines the only sound between them. Ava stared out the window, watching the runway lights fade into the clouds. She should have felt triumphant. After all, justice had been served. But the victory felt hollow. The humiliation, the stares, the whispers, those didn't disappear just because people finally realized who she was. Nia sat beside her, arms folded, eyes distant. "They didn't respect us because of Dad," she said softly. "They respected us because of what he owns." Mr. Carter glanced at his daughters, pride and pain reflected in his eyes. "And that," he said quietly, "is the problem we've been fighting all our lives." For a moment, silence filled the cabin, but beneath it was something powerful, a resolve. They'd seen how quickly dignity could be stripped away, how easily prejudice could hide behind smiles and polite words. When they landed, the story spread. The same people who had turned them away now apologized, offered explanations, excuses. But the truth lingered like a shadow, because it wasn't about a misunderstanding. It was about assumptions, about the unspoken belief that wealth, intelligence, or respect have a color. Ava realized something that day. Change doesn't come from exposure. It comes from empathy, from refusing to look away,
from refusing to let another family, another life, be judged before being known. Because racism doesn't always shout. Sometimes it whispers in the way people look at you, the way they hesitate, the way they assume. And until that silence is broken, stories like theirs will keep happening. So the question is, when you see it happen next time, will you stay silent or will you speak up? If you believe stories like this need to be heard, share this video and make sure you're subscribed, because awareness isn't enough anymore. Action is.